much?
69 cents.
And the gas?
Y'all getting any rain up your way?
What way would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
What business is it of yours? Where I'm from? Friendo?
At the heart of this early exchange lies an unsettling truth, that the most mundane of conversations can carry the weight of life and death when filtered through the twisted philosophy of a man like Chigga. Chigga is terrifying not just because he kills people, but because of how and why he does it. He doesn't act out of rage or profit or revenge. He acts out of an invisible belief system, a cold, abstract philosophy that turns a gas station coin toss into a possible death sentence. What's terrifying is the realization that you might not be able to reason with a man like this. You could be polite, submissive, even innocent, and none of that would matter. And this makes you uncomfortable because you feel yourself in the proprietor's shoes. He's just a normal man making small talk. He doesn't even know he's entered a game until he's already playing. There's something paralyzing in that, something deeply existential. It tells you that you are not in control, that you could be doing everything right and still find yourself face to face with someone who believes you must die. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the coin says so. The scene opens innocently. Chigga, standing at the counter, holds up a bag of cashews and asks,
How much?
The proprietor replies,
69 cents.
There is nothing abnormal here, just a transaction, yet almost immediately something begins to feel off.
Getting any rain up your way?
When the proprietor asks a seemingly harmless question meant to make small talk, Chigga freezes. He responds,
What way would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
This is the moment the tone shifts. Chigga challenges the assumptions behind a routine pleasantry, treating the comment not as conversation but as a probe into his identity. The tension continues to grow. When the proprietor clarifies that he saw Chigga's plates were from Dallas, Chigga escalates with the now famous line,
What business is it of yours? Where I'm from? Friendo?
What business is it of yours where I'm from, friendo? The word friendo in particular drips with irony and threat. It's a mockery of the very friendliness the old man is trying to show. What was once a normal conversation is now a pressure cooker. Chigga isn't merely being defensive, he's playing a game, a quiet, cerebral one, and the rules are his alone. This part of the scene reveals Chigga's method. He isolates, destabilizes, and tests. The proprietor becomes visibly uncomfortable, stammering through an apology.
I didn't mean nothing by it.
Didn't mean nothing.
But Chigga repeats his words back at him, not to seek clarity but to mimic and deconstruct, as if reducing the man's language to noise. The proprietor, cornered by the strangeness of this man and the tension in the air, apologizes again.
If you don't want to accept that, I don't know what else I can do for you.
The subtext here is fear. The man doesn't fully understand what he's done wrong, but he feels danger thickening around him, and he tries to retreat with politeness. Meanwhile, Chigga says nothing. He simply chews cashews and stares. In that silence, the power dynamic shifts. Chigga doesn't need to raise his voice or issue threats. He dominates the conversation by refusing to follow its social script. Then comes the line that signals the next phase of the psychological game.
Will there be something else?
I don't know. Will there?
With this question, he flips the conversation into something open-ended and ominous. He places the burden of interpretation on the old man. There is no clear answer. The question is no longer about the sale, it's about the encounter itself. Is something else coming? Will it be dangerous? Does the proprietor sense it? In this exchange, Chigga doesn't just speak, he infects. He injects doubt, confusion, and dread into something as banal as a gas station purchase. And crucially, he does it all without raising his voice, without brandishing a weapon, and without overt hostility. His danger lies not in what he says, but in how he says it, and in what he chooses not to say at all.
Is something wrong?
The proprietor, sensing something is deeply wrong, asks meekly, Is something wrong? It's a desperate question, vague, fearful, open-ended. He cannot articulate what's happening because the situation defies logic. But Chigga seizes this moment of uncertainty and weaponizes it.
With what?
With anything.
Is that what you're asking me? Is Is there something wrong with anything?
Will there be anything else?
You already asked me that.
Forcing the man to confront the absurdity of his own fear. When the proprietor clarifies, Chiga turns that too against him. Is that what you're asking me? Is there something wrong with anything? This repetition isn't just for intimidation. It's an assault on meaning. Chigo twists a simple question into a philosophical trap. The proprietor tries again to return to normalcy, asking, will there be anything else? But Chigo coldly reminds him, you already asked me that. It's a rejection of polite redundancy, but more importantly, it's another move to control the rhythm of the interaction. The old man wants to end the encounter, wants closure, but Chiga refuses. When the man says,
Well, I need to see about closing now.
Chiga zeroes in.
See about closing.
These repetitions are deliberate. They echo like taunts, like traps, like he's making the man justify every syllable.
What time do you close?
Now, we close now.
Now is not a time. What time do you close?
Generally around dark, at dark.
This moment is crucial. Chigurh rejects now as a real concept. He demands specificity. It's a semantic correction on the surface, but beneath it lies a deeper attack on the very nature of time. The man's answer, generally around dark, is again met with disdain. Chigurh is systematically removing all grey areas. He wants truth with no ambiguity, and yet he himself operates within a fog of unknowable intent.
What time do you go to bed?
Sir?
What time do you go to bed? It's a personal, deeply unsettling question. The proprietor stumbles confused and Chiga mocks him again.
You're a bit deaf, aren't you? I said, what time do you go to bed?
The old man answers with more information than needed.
Somewhere around 9:30. I'd say around 9:30.
He's trying to be agreeable, to please the strange man, to diffuse the tension, but Chiga responds with something truly ominous.
I could come back then.
Why would you be coming back? We'll be closed.
Yeah, you said that.
This line is almost surreal in its coldness. It's not an outright threat, but it's layered with implication. Why would he come back? For what purpose? The proprietor, now visibly shaken, tries to reassert control by stating they'll be closed. But Chiga replies, you said that, further eroding the man's sense of safety. Every attempt the old man makes to restore logic or boundaries is brushed away. Then Chiga begins asking about his personal life.
You live in that house out back.
Yes, I do.
You lived here all your life?
This is my wife's father's place originally.
You married into it.
You live in that house behind the store. You've lived here all your life. You married into it. These lines take the interaction to an intimate, invasive level. The questions are casual in form, but violent in effect. Chiga strips away privacy and familiarity, reducing the proprietor's entire life to a single phrase. You married into it.
If that's the way you want to put it.
I don't have some way to put it. That's the way it is.
This is the philosophy of Anton Chigurh in one line. There is no interpretation, no perspective. There is only what is. He views the world through a lens of absolutism, where nuance doesn't exist and free will is an illusion. His voice is monotone, his eyes unblinking, and yet everything he says feels final, like scripture from some dark god of fate. Even Chigurh's actions emphasize this. He finishes his cashews, calmly wads the packet, and sets it on the counter, and the camera lingers on it as it slowly unkinks itself. This small detail is deceptively powerful. The crumpled snack wrapper slowly uncoiling is like the proprietor himself, strained, disturbed, quietly unraveling under pressure. Throughout this exchange, Chigurh never raises his voice. He never threatens, never shows anger, and yet the air thickens with dread, the tension unbearable. This is what makes him so terrifying. He's not chaotic in the traditional sense. He's methodical, precise, and philosophically committed to something far darker than mere violence.
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss?
It's an innocent enough question on the surface, but the silence that follows is filled with dread. The proprietor's already trembling. He senses, without being told, that this is no joke. Chigurh is not smiling. This is not banter. This is a test or a judgment. The man responds, I don't know. I couldn't say. And that's when Chigga pulls the coin and tosses it, without ever saying what the stakes are. When the proprietor resists, Chigga's response reveals everything about his worldview.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. Well, it wouldn't be fair.
Fairness, rightness, this from a man who murders without mercy. But in Chigga's mind, fairness is not about kindness or justice. It's about submission to fate. It would be wrong for him to call the coin because that would be violating the laws of chance as he sees them. The coin's verdict must emerge without interference. This is Chigga's twisted morality. He believes himself to be the instrument of fate, not its author.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it.
This line pierces through the heart of the film's existential theme. It implies that every moment in life, every step, every word, every casual interaction has been leading here. The old man's mistake wasn't anything he did today. It was being alive. In Chigga's deterministic worldview, none of us are innocent. We are all in some way accountable to the invisible forces that govern the universe.
You know what date is on this coin?
No.
1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here.
Chigga then reveals the date on the coin, 1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. This gives the coin a mythic dimension. It's not just money, it's a relic. It's destiny. It has passed through time and space to arrive at this precise moment, in this desolate gas station, to determine whether this man lives or dies. In that worldview, chance is not random, it's sacred. When the proprietor, desperate and confused, asks,
Well, look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything, call it.
the answer is as vast as it is terrifying. Life itself, his future, his family, his continued existence, everything is on the line, and he never saw it coming. The man finally calls,
Heads, then.
Well done. Don't put it in your pocket.
Sir?
Don't put it in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter.
but he doesn't leave it there. He delivers one of the most quietly devastating lines in the film. Don't put it in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter.
What will get mixed in with the others and become just a coin. Which it is.
Or it'll get mixed in with the others and become just a coin, which it is. This contradiction is the heart of Chigu's worldview. The coin is sacred until it's not. It is imbued with the power of life and death until it touches other coins and becomes meaningless again. In this one moment, Chiga reveals the absurdity and profundity of fate. Everything matters and nothing matters. You live or you die. Then Chiga turns and leaves, and the proprietor is left behind, staring, shaken to his core. He hasn't just survived a life-threatening encounter. He's survived an existential collapse. Everything he believed about choice, about safety, about human interaction has been erased. What makes the scene so chilling is not that Chiga might kill the old man. It's that we understand he would, without emotion, without regret, and with full belief in the justice of it. In that moment, we are not just afraid for the proprietor. We are afraid for ourselves, because Chiga is not just a character. He is a metaphor for every unseen force that shapes our lives without warning or mercy. And he reminds us that no matter how routine or quiet life seems, we are always one coin toss away from losing everything.